Hey everyone, it's Normal Life. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to show you in this video the most reliable deck to get you to pro rank if you're starting from rank 30 or you're struggling around rank 1 and 2 and just can't rank up for some reason. This deck I'm going to show you is the most reliable and most easiest one to use. I'm going to explain the deck, the game plan, and also gameplay of me using it so you can get a full understanding what to do when using this deck. But firstly guys, if you're new around here, consider subscribing to see more videos like these. Also like this video and write a comment below what's your favourite deck or what do you think of this one. Write in a comment below, and also liking the video really can help this YouTube video perform in the YouTube algorithm. So I would really appreciate that if you can do that for me. But let's get straight into the deck build. What are we using today to get us to pro rank? So the deck I'm going to use is a Skellige deck, which is a Hyper Thin Shrooms deck. So this is a Shrooms deck, but I've customized it to make it more hyper thin and can get more of the best cards out for you, especially if you go to round 3 to take on your opponent. So this is the Hyper Thin Shrooms deck, which I've custom made to the old Shrooms, and it looks slightly the same, but there's quite a lot of changes there to make it, for my opinion, an improved deck to overwhelm your opponent. So what we're going to have for our leader charge for this is obviously battle trance to get the alchemy points to build lots of points of a Crow clan preacher, and obviously we're going to have the starting card for the Skellige one, the Mask of Ulbris, to get the discards out, the cards that we don't need, but you can still point slam onto the battlefield when you discard them, because when they go in the graveyard they come back out as well. So let's go through this deck and for the main cards that we want to try and keep and how we filter out the other cards as well. So so what we're going to look at here is the top card, Fucusya. So this card we do want to save to the end, but it can be a life-saving card if you are struggling for points. But if you can save it to the end, it is brilliant. So this brings back another card, but obviously if you go below the provision of 10 points, it will spawn round on your opponent. And the one that you want to try and bring back, which will be in your graveyard, is a Crow clan preacher, and that will basically, when you bring that down and you are boosting points with the preachers and you are putting round on your opponent, they're taking damage, you're building points. So that's a massive way to overwhelm your opponent. The cards that you want to save to the end is Gedyneith and also Mushy Truffle. So these are the two cards that you want to try and save to the end, also with a preacher in your hand as well, to filter out your deck and also build points as well. Sunset Warrior is a great card to have in there, especially if to finish off winning round 1 or potentially 2 if you get bled. So that builds points. It will go across your deck every time you put a card down, and this is basically the last card that is going to be used. You obviously don't use this card, it builds points as it goes. So if you can use cards to the left hand side of it because it's moving to the right hand side, that will build more points with this card. So Sunset Wanderer is a great card to put in there to draw another card out and also point slam onto the board as well. Big debate. People put Morkvarg in there, the one that damages your opponent until it's actually damaged. So if you had any boosts or any shields, in my opinion, I've come across quite a few cards that it'll only take a few points off them because they don't rely on boosts. They probably do rely on the shields, and it only took one base point off them. And also, for example, with a Vampire's deck with Regis builds his base point up, so he's not boosted, and I find Morkvarg kind of a useless card as well. So I put Heatwave straight in there just to get rid of big points and any other cards that I think is going to be a massive threat towards me in the future games. So as I said, Mushy Truffle obviously brings back or brings a bonded card, which is a preacher, so it spawns one. So if you've got that with Gedyneith at the same time in your hand with another preacher to activate Gedyneith moving, it is so overpowering. So these are the main cards that you want: Gedyneith and Mushy Truffle, especially in round 3. So underrated, or no, not underrated, I would say an misused card is Crowmother. So Crowmother before used to be discarded into your graveyard, then comes back later if you use an alchemy card by using Darren. Darren's out of this deck. I think that's quite a useless card in my opinion. So you want to try and use the maximum points out of Crowmother. So she brings you 8 points when you put her down straight away. So if you got her in a hand, use her. Obviously, if you can use her because she is a druid with Gedyneith, which will obviously activate Gedyneith and the chapters as we go. But Crowmother, in my opinion, it's a great 8-point slam card, and there's another card as well that brings 8 points as well, which I think is overwhelming with your opponent, especially if you've got a blue coin as well. So if you can, don't discard Crowmother. If you can, try and use the full 8 points of her, because she does come back obviously when you use the alchemy card. So you use an 8 points and then you use an extra 4 points on top, which is 12 in total, and it's basically, I think it's just an overwhelming card to your opponent. Okay, so to discard your cards and to hyper thin your cards that we're obviously going to use, it's Coral and Bran. So Coral and Bran, they do the same thing but slightly different. So they discard cards. Coral will damage an enemy every time you discard a card, and draws a card as well. Bran will draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And I'll explain the 2 cards that you want to try and get rid of. One of the cards that you do want to get rid of, which is below, which is Morkvarg, the beast version. So this is a great card to discard. A great 5 solid points on there. When it's on blue coin and you can discard this straight away, it's overwhelming with your opponent. You can get a maximum of, like, I think around about 24 points if you've got blue coin after you lock a few cards putting down. So the alchemy that we're going to use compared to the old one, so before we had like the witch trials, so I have slightly different ones, because all the special cards that we're going to use in here is alchemy, to obviously to boost your crow clan preacher. So we've got decoction here, which basically damages your enemy by 6 points. So compared to the witch trials basically boost them to 12, damages them first and boost them to 12 points. In my opinion, quite a risky card if you can't use it fully on yourself or on your opponent. So I thought just have a card that just damages straight away. And it's alchemy, so it boosts my cards as well. So next with that is basically the same delirium, which damages your opponent 6 times but spreads it out. So they're the golds alchemy cards that we're using. Massive underrated card, Maxi. Well, when you are basically filtering out your deck with your discards and everything, if you've got Max in your hand to put down and just basically sort your deck out a bit more better. So if you've got a poor hand coming out in the front, obviously you're going to put them down to the bottom. So put Maxi, if you can, down as soon as possible. Just basically clean your deck out so you get more chance of getting Mushy and Gedy as well, the scenario card. So the cards that you're ideally trying to put at the back, if it's coming up to the top, is alchemy cards, the weak alchemy cards, or any alchemy cards. Basically, you want trying to get units in your hand, especially the ones that you want to discard or you want to keep for later. So another card, in my opinion, which is so underrated, is one of my favourite cards to use, which is Crow Messenger. Crow Messenger basically will spawn the other copy of it, so it's a solid 8 points every time you put it down. If the Crow Messenger, the other copy, is in the graveyard or in the deck, so if you put it down, you don't have a alchemy card and it goes to the graveyard eventually, but you have the other one later in your hand, but you do have an alchemy card, it'll come down onto the battlefield and come from the graveyard as well. So which is, in my opinion, such a strong 8-point card. And you usually have an alchemy card in your hand when playing this deck, so usually you can draw it from your deck. So imagine putting your Crowmother down, then putting Crow Messenger down, straight away 2 solid 8 sets of points coming out to your opponent, and it's so overwhelming straight away. So Crow Messenger, a really key card to have compared to the little Harvey used to have. So these are much better in my opinion. It thins your deck out and also puts solid points onto the boards for your opponent to try and deal with. So next card is Dwimveandra, which is only useful if you've got Mushy Truffle in your hand. So you want to try and get them both in your hand. If you can get 2 in your hand and you've got Mushy, you are building so many points. So these are the cards that you do really want in round 3. And I'll explain the cards, the perfect hand you want in round 3 if you can try and filter it out. So the rest we're going to go through, which is basically to filter or just alchemy. So we've got Swallow, we've got 2 in there, which is alchemy. Marjoram, which is one, which basically is your battle trance, damages your enemy, damages a unit, and then boosts that unit by 9. So this can actually be removal if the enemy has got a 3-point card, or you can just use it yourself and boost yourself and also get maximum points. Here's Siren spawns round. This is an alchemy card just put in there just to filter out and also just damage my opponent. So just to try and make it a bit more variant with the alchemy cards that I have. So next card, to discard cards to put in your graveyard, which is Haymaey. So this will draw a card from your deck, and then you decide which you're going to discard, which is your hand. Hopefully it is the card that is below, which is a Skirmisher. So if one of those comes out, or Morkvarg, that is brilliant. So this is really good to basically thin out your deck. So the two Skirmishers and Morkvarg are the two cards that you want to get rid of, which will come back when it comes from the graveyard back onto the battlefield, and really overwhelms your opponent when they just literally fly onto the battlefield as well. And the ones that will win you the game and build you points, and when you've got to try and keep them alive as much as possible, or bring them back as much as possible, which is your Crow clan preachers. So the Crow clan preachers is basically the biggest engines you're going to have on the battlefield when playing Gwent against your opponent. And we're going to go through the perfect hand that you want in round 3. So after you're filtering with Coral and Bran and the Haymaeys, and getting rid of your Skirmishers, getting rid of Morkvarg, and getting rid of some of the weaker alchemy cards as well if you need to get rid of them, and also you put in Crow Messenger out there, so you've really thinning your deck out with these cards that I've mentioned. The hand that you want in round 3, and hopefully you can get 10 cards. Hopefully you can beat your opponent and get to 4, and then obviously do a dry pass and get to round 3. And it doesn't actually matter if you don't have 10 cards, but the ideal cards that you want in your hand is Gedyneith, Fucusya, to bring back a messenger if you want. So you not a messenger, so a preacher. So you may want to use a preacher, and then your battle trance, your leader charge in round 1, just to get over the line. That's fine. So Fucusya to bring back a preacher if you do use a preacher, or if you don't use a preacher, you can use Fucusya to bring back, I would say, a Crow messenger, because that would be 8 points. So if you bring one Crow onto the field, the other one Crow will come back as well on the field as well. So you bring in a solid 8 points there. So it's up to you, but ideally you probably want to bring your preacher if you've used that. Another card that you want to use, obviously you're going to have Gedyneith with your preachers. That obviously every time you put a druid down, hopefully you've got 2 of the preachers in your hand, and you spawn one from Mushy Truffle as well. This will release the chapters, and each chapter basically just builds loads of engine points as well. Sunset Wanderer, obviously you'll get rid of eventually, and thin out your deck. Heatwave, not the most important. Sometimes I Heatwave in round 1 to win round 1. That's what I usually do. So to secure a round 1 victory, they'll probably build loads of points with one card, and then I get rid of it. So the next card that you want to hand, so Fucusya, Gedyneith, is Mushy Truffle, with obviously, as I keep saying, the preachers as well. So having these will literally overwhelm your opponent with points, because you can have multiple points bouncing everywhere, and these will obviously spawns you a bonded card, which is a preacher, and also will use an alchemy card after it's on its second term. If you've got Crowmother and you're going to put it down, solid 8 points, but also it will activate Gedyneith as well. Not the most important card, but when you use an alchemy card, if you have at least one alchemy card in your hand, you'll bring the Crowmother back in round 3. So think about that as well. So it doesn't matter if you haven't got Crowmother in your hand, but if you haven't got Crowmother, basically have an alchemy card, because that'll bring it back as well. But won't activate Gedyneith, I believe. Won't activate Gedyneith. And the final cards that you want in your hand is Dwimveandra. You want to have both of them for Mushy Truffle to basically keep getting more alchemy from your Mushy Truffle and keep engine points. And other than that, all you really want is either alchemy cards. So it could be your Delirium and Decoction to damage your opponent, and you're building up points at the same time. So you're damaging your opponent and you're actually gaining points. So these are the final cards that you want in your hand, and this will overwhelm your opponent. So that's the Hyper Thin Shroom deck that you're going to use. So quickly, game plan: discard the cards that we don't want, that will come back from the graveyard, which will still overwhelm your opponent with points slamming down. And you want to have the cards in your hand in the last round that you play, such as Gedyneith, Preacher, Fucusya as well, to bring back a Preacher, other alchemy cards, and obviously Mushy Truffle as well. So they're the main cards that you want to use. So I'm going to show you some gameplay of me using it, guys, and see what you think, and try and use this, and it will get you to rank 1. It got me to rank 1 within 2 hours. after starting with 0 games with one in rank 1. Yeah, so solid 2 hours playing this, and I got to pro rank. So you can rank up so much with this deck if you start on whatever rank you are, or it will push you towards pro rank, guys. So don't forget to also, guys, if I don't mention it within the later in the video, to like this video, subscribe, and write a comment below as well. What do you think of this deck, and did it help you? And yeah, let's get straight into the gameplay. Right, so let's try and figure this out. So Crow, good to have. Bran, the Skirmisher is good. So we might want to probably get rid of Dwim for the moment. Crowmother is okay. Probably want to get rid of this alchemy here. What else do you probably want to get rid of? Maybe this alchemy. Okay, so it's all right for the moment. So we could play Crow, and then that will bring 2 crows out, and then use our starting card here, the mask, and probably throw the skirmisher out. My first thoughts are good, and then okay, and then throw you back out. Nice 16-point start. I was gonna hope from Bran that I do get yeah, some cards I need to discard, really, because I want to keep Gedy in my hand. I want to keep a preacher in my hand. So let's now throw this down, see what we can get. Nice, beautiful. Okay, so that goes down, and I obviously have to throw an alchemy card out of my hand for the moment. I want to keep the Dwins as well, because if I get Mushy Truffle, that's looking dangerous. So we're looking good so far. Now we're playing against a Simulate, so I do need to be slightly worried of them playing the deck better than me, which is my main worry when playing this. Okay, so just to keep cards going down, keep overwhelming, it's going to put Crowmother down. She spawns another 2 crows, which basically keeps us ahead. So we just need to keep ahead as much as possible. Try and get this guy to pass, because we've got to hope as well they haven't got a perfect set of cards in their hands. That's a good card to come out, to be fair. Now, I'm not frightened of using my preacher, and actually using as well my leader charge, just to keep ahead here. So we're going to put my preacher down. I'm not going to use leader charge yet. Might be greedy not using it, but it's always good to have it out there. But they could potentially use that as a target to kill now, because I think I'm going to use... nice. That's good. That's actually brilliant, because I can bring that back with Fucusya. So we pass here. And because they obviously haven't got the best cards in their hand, they're only going to draw 3. So we actually do need now to push Nilfgaard here. We just need to get... Oh, okay. From this, we need to get Mushy Truffle, don't we, to push. We need Mushy Truffle. Desperately. So let's throw this out. Okay, let's throw this away. Right, so what I'm thinking here is just discard my cards, really, so I've got a better thin in here. So we're not going to push too much. So I'm going to probably play Maxi, Coral, and Morkvarg. They're the only probably cards I'm going to play, and save the rest for later. So let's probably Maxi first, see what we've got. No one gets to fool me twice. Okay, so I'm going to get that. That, in my opinion, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to keep that. And then Coral and Morkvarg to come out. And then we're thinning, and we're getting closer to Mushy Truffle. So Mushy Truffle, Gedy, Fucusya with another preacher is going to be good. Oof, okay, that could actually affect us if they use alchemy as well. Okay, let's use coral here.
That might even be amusing.
And throw this guy out. Nice. And we pass here, really. We're basically setting up for the final battle in round 3. Usually would, if I had Mushy Truffle, I probably would have... I definitely would have pushed all the way as long as I can. There's no point pushing now. I haven't got the cards to push. Unless... No, I want to keep the alchemy. I was thinking, do I just want to destroy a card, get him, keep putting more cards down? But then what else would he play? I know I'm getting mushy. Okay, let's pass here. I was trying to be greedy there, but we're going to leave it.
A highly curious case.
To be fair, what's quite good though. Okay, okay, no, that was a good pass because of he's used his mushy. He should have really saved that. I think he did. Did he have enough cards? I don't know actually. I didn't really count if he had enough units. But he's got rid of mushy. We get mushy. To have a perfect hand here, we need a druid. Oh my god. Okay, this is everything we want really. Anything else I could get? Probably Heatwave. So we want a Heatwave here. So no, we don't. Do we want a Heatwave? No, we're not going to be greedy. I was thinking Heatwave, but we're going to go for just as much points as we can with our preacher. We might hopefully draw it with our sunset, and our sunset is building loads of points here. Our sunset's building loads of points. I'm thinking he's not. I'm thinking he's not going to have Heatwave. Well, I could be wrong here. I'll find out my answer in a second on his next card. So we're going to play Mushy next. Well, he does have Heatwave. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I'm going to play my last preacher. So really with the Gedy going, we just lose just extra alchemy coming out really, that's all. Doesn't really want us to have a build points, does he? Okay, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to bring this out. And I'm going to use, before he starts stealing, we're going to use our leader charge, so they're all ready to go. Obviously with a alchemy card, Crowmother comes out as well. I'm going to save until I've got 3 in a row. Nice. Oh, perfect, perfect. So as I said, hopefully Heatwave comes out if sunset goes down, which it does. Good points from that. Right, massive. Look at the point difference so far, and he's got to literally catch up here. So we're going to Fucusya, actually, another druid. Or do I want to be greedy here? No. Yeah. No. We'll wait until he puts more rows down, more cards down. So let's get rid of a summer simulator here. We build our points. Every time we use the alchemy card, these preachers boost. I want to see basically what he's thinking, really. I potentially might need to use a Heatwave. Yeah, I'm going to use a Heatwave here. Because I'm thinking he's got double cross. He's got to... Oh, so lucky. Okay. Yes, okay, I thought he could have got a Heatwave and completely eliminated one of my biggest points.
I value adventures only
okay, right. So we are going to... so he can't grab from me anymore. So we're going to damage... I'm trying to say the front or back row. We're probably going to damage the front row because that's going to build points. Yeah, we're going to go front row because I'm probably going to Heatwave Barathens. So we're going to damage the front row. And, oh, we don't have a crow anymore. Oh, he sold it. Okay, that's fine. Not crow, preacher. So, have we got an alchemy card in my hand? We do. So we're probably going to throw a crow out. And then we are... Yeah, let's boost our points up here. Probably spread it around. Don't put it all in one section. So, yeah, great. So far, overwhelm my opponent. He's still got to build up points with Simulate. But now, this is where Dwim comes in play. I'm just going to keep building points now off my Mushy Truffle. As I basically keep refreshing it, put it in the range row. Just keep basically boosting our... Look, 20 to 76 so far. And if it's the Simulate deck, he's not going to have Geralt that restarts all the points. I'm assuming he's not. So he's got a lot of catching up to do. A lot of catching up. Fucusya, okay, he does actually have one of my cards, so he can actually use Rain, which is quite funny. Yeah, let's get our full.
My home is wherever the road takes me.
Cards boosted here. No, we've got a bit of rain coming on us, but it's okay. We're doing well. Oh, okay. He's relying on this rain to see him through.
Your descendants, my beloved. Sacrifices for memories, one and all.
He's bringing some points, but we're gonna. Heatwave's gonna be our last card here. Delirium, we're going to say next. Yeah, we're going to say Delirium. Let's go in Delirium here. Just keep building our points as we go. And then we're going to heat... Because he's used his Heatwave. He's used Yennefer. I haven't seen Joachim yet. He's gone for Crowmother. So he's building a Simulate points, which is Heatwave. I'm going to sort that problem out. Let's just boost one of our cards that are almost dying here. Let's boost this. Just boost here. Probably should have boosted the back row, really. So 66 and 94. Perfect hand in round 3 to have. And then, yeah, this is the GG here.
Pay no heed to my face.
Worst case... Yeah, worst case scenario would have got rid of his big card. So yeah, nice and simple to be fair. Hyper Thin Shrooms, I just think overwhelms the opponent completely if you thin your deck out correctly and get them key cards in your hand in round 3. Right guys, that was an example of my Hyper Thin Shrooms, thinning the deck out as much as I can to get all the key component cards to give me high points, especially in round 3. And as you can see, I was making judgment when to bleed or not. Sometimes I do bleed with this deck, but I thought, because I didn't have Mushy Truffle, there was no point bleeding. So I'll bleed as much as we can. We looked at, not bleeding, sorry, thinning really at that time. So yes, basically thin your deck, get the key cards, and then you should be okay. As I mentioned before, Simulate usually plays my deck better than me, so I played pretty well to beat that my opponent. The only cards you're really going to struggle, factions you're going to struggle against is with Nilfgaard and probably Millen if they do get rid of Gedyneith and Mushy Truffle. That's when you are going to struggle with points builds, but you can just about get through it if you keep your Heatwave and get rid of the Cold Grim that comes out. So yeah guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was useful. I gave a great example and explanation how to use it. If you liked it, give it a like, write a comment below what do you think, or what's your favourite deck, as I go really far in the YouTube algorithm by liking the video and commenting, and also subscribe to see more videos like this, and I'll see you all in my next video.